Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are taking the ultimate shortcut, really, into a conversation that's just defining our current moment. Whether you're running a startup, guiding a church, maybe sitting on a university board, you are grappling with this overwhelming, rapidly accessible rise of generative AI. Things like ChatGPT, Gemini.
And, if you are feeling overwhelmed by it all, you probably should be. Our sources for this deep dive, and they draw really heavily from these innovative experiments at Acadia Divinity College,
Right.
led by theologian and futurist Reverend Anna Robbins. They're asking a really fundamental question. What happens when the defining tech of our age just smashes into institutions? Institutions designed to teach humanity spiritual formation.
And that's really the core mission today, isn't it? To understand why this technology is fundamentally different from anything that came before. And, well, what does that shift mean for the future? Future of learning, community, and maybe even identity itself.
Yeah.
Because the sources, they don't really mince words on the magnitude here.
No, they really don't. The emergence of AI, it's not seen as, just another cultural trend, not at all.
Okay.
It's placed alongside these huge historical events. We're talking about a systemic upheaval, something likely to have an effect as big as, maybe even bigger than, the development of the printing press on Western culture, global culture.
Wow. Okay, let's unpack that analogy for just a second. The printing press. I mean, it didn't just automate writing, right? It broke the church's monopoly on knowledge, it standardized language, created the whole university system as we know it today.
Exactly. The press decentralized knowledge. It created a new gatekeeper. You could say the publisher, the university.
Right.
And AI is doing that again. It's repeating that disruption, but just way, way faster. And now it's challenging the gatekeeper's role completely. Democratizing access to knowledge, yes, but also the generation of personalized, high-quality knowledge.
So that's why the effect is systemic. It's not just a tool.
Not just a tool. And when leaders face something that big, the response is often, well, it's fear-based, isn't it?
Yeah, the sources point out those two extremes we see. The chicken little crowd, panicking, the sky is falling, trying to ban the tech outright.
The panic.
And then the others, with their heads buried in the sand, just pretending it's small, a passing fad, won't affect them.
And the interesting thing is both reactions, they're motivated by fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of transformation, maybe losing control. But for leaders, especially those tasked with spiritual leadership formation, the mandate is to find a strategic posture, something that lets you engage what's happening without losing your core mission.
Okay, so let's try and nail down that strategic posture then. Engage, don't embrace. What's the practical difference between those two, especially with something as powerful as AI?
Well, engagement. It's marked by curiosity, but also caution. It means experimenting actively, finding out exactly what AI can do, how you can leverage it ethically, and this is crucial, how to spot and mitigate the negative stuff.
You can't assess what you don't understand.
Exactly. You can't assess a threat or an opportunity you don't understand. Embracing it, though, that would mean adopting it wholesale. No real theological or ethical reflection just because it promises efficiency. That's the danger.
And the sources really emphasize the urgency here. Getting involved now. Futurists are warning. This tech is moving so fast.
So fast.
That if leaders just wait on the sidelines for the early adopters to figure it out for them, the knowledge gap that results will be huge, maybe uncatchable. You lose the chance to influence things.
You lose the chance to influence, absolutely. And you risk becoming irrelevant. We're seeing this critical window, like right now, where theological leaders can bring wisdom, ethical reflection to the table.
But if they wait?
If they wait, they'll just be forced to comply. Comply with whatever Silicon Valley decides the market needs. Engagement lets them actually shape the discussion. Ask those hard questions about humanity, purpose.
And speaking of shaping the discussion, this urgency. It leads us straight to that existential threat for academia. The sources talk about the death of the knowledge industry because universities were historically built on gathering knowledge, passing it on.
And that's the crisis, isn't it? If your institution's main value proposition is just transmitting facts, information,
Right.
and now anyone can access and synthesize that instantly with a free tool, then the traditional foundation of the university just sort of evaporates.
That realization must have hit pretty hard at Acadia Divinity College during their experiments.
Oh, it did. The ADC experiment threw up this really staggering thought. Theoretically, if the only goal is accredited knowledge transfer,
Just the facts.
then one person could run a seminary, just one person with a few automated avatars, you could eliminate the need for dozens of faculty if all you care about is transmitting information, not character.
That's a massive operational shift. And frankly, a scary financial thought for a lot of institutions. I mean, if boards see that kind of potential efficiency, how do theological institutions stop AI from becoming an excuse to just, massively cut faculty?
That is the essential challenge. You probably can't stop the financial pressure entirely, but what you can do is redefine your core purpose. Focus on what AI absolutely cannot replace.
Which is?
The future of the seminary is absolutely relational. Theological education, fundamentally, it's about formation, not just instruction.
Okay, when we say formation, for listeners maybe not steeped in theological language, we're talking about changing the person inside, right? Like spiritual growth.
Precisely. We're talking about organic growth. It's why the word seminary itself means seedbed. You're nurturing something.
Oh, yeah.
And formation needs time together. It needs modeling virtue, mentoring, discerning the spirit. These are things that require presence, relationship, investment, things you just can't automate.
So AI doesn't actually diminish the need for the seminary. It clarifies it, heightens its true calling.
Absolutely. It forces it, in a way, to retreat from that competitive knowledge industry and get back to its core business, spiritual growth.
And it forces the church, its academic partners, to really tackle that massive question. What does it mean to be human?
Yes, and even deeper, what does it mean to be a human who relates to God? That's the curriculum that no algorithm can touch.
And the timing.
Yeah.
The cultural context for this relational pivot. It couldn't be more urgent. The sources mention those shocking stats about loneliness. A huge percentage of young adults, 18 to 21, feeling lonely all the time.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
So if the world is getting more isolating than the church, theological education, they have this renewed, maybe profound opportunity to shape culture just by being places of deep, real belonging.
It's the ultimate countercultural move, isn't it? Prioritizing being together, investing in messy, slow human relationships instead of just hyper-efficiency.
Okay, let's dive into the Acadia Divinity College experiment itself, because this is where the theory really, met the road. They didn't just talk about AI. They actually designed and ran a whole course using it.
They did. And they started with some, frankly, huge efficiency gains, like creating the administrative framework for a new course on the ethics of AI.
Okay.
A human professor might spend a whole morning trying to craft precise learning outcomes. The AI generated 10 outcomes in seconds, and when they prompted it to refine them, the AI's outcomes were arguably better aligned with pedagogical goals than what a professor could typically do quickly.
So it's like a brilliant research assistant for the admin side of things.
Exactly. Excellent for drafting policies, helping faculty maybe diversify lectures by spotting missed perspectives, and it forces a move towards more creative assessments, things AI can't just write an essay for.
Makes sense.
But the main experiment, the really big one, was the course run entirely by the AI. They trained a professional large language model on all the college specifics, their calendar, their learning objectives, even their pedagogy. Things like Bloom's taxonomy and indigenous ways of knowing.
Hold on, let's quickly clarify those terms for the listener. Bloom's taxonomy.
Right, so Bloom's taxonomy is basically a framework for learning objectives. It pushes students from just memorizing facts. That's the lowest level up towards critical analysis, evaluation, creating something new, the highest levels.
So they were training the AI to teach, not just lecture.
Exactly. They wanted it to stimulate higher order thinking. They essentially built a very intelligent, highly specialized teaching AI. And included indigenous ways of knowing, which is crucial for their context, emphasizing relational learning, storytelling, community.
And this AI, it managed the whole curriculum, videos, lectures, marking, all delivered by an avatar of the college president, Reverend Robbins. That's some serious commitment to experimentation.
It is. And the feedback, this is the absolute core insight from the whole deep dive, I think. Yeah. Objectively, the students met all the learning outcomes. Academically, check. Mission accomplished. But relationally, it was, well, a disaster might be too strong, but it was deeply problematic.
How so? What did the students actually experience?
They felt this distinct lack of personal connection. Even though they knew it was an AI, they admitted feeling duped by the avatar. It just confirmed that while you can automate knowledge transfer, you can't automate formation. Spiritual, professional, doesn't matter.
So the feedback from the AI, even if it was positive and accurate, it just lacked weight.
Completely. The marking feedback, yeah, it was fast, relevant. But the students felt patronized. One student literally said that positive feedback doesn't mean anything if it doesn't come from a professor.
Wow.
And that's the key, right? An algorithm gives feedback instantly, efficiently, zero personal cost to itself. A professor spending time laboring over that feedback, that communicates personal investment, care.
So AI really highlights the difference between just being efficient and actually investing in someone.
Exactly.
And the moment that investment, the kind of relational currency, is gone, the students realize they're just part of a transaction, not actually being cared for.
Absolutely. That investment piece is inseparable from formation.
Yeah.
But, and this is a big but, the opportunities for global education this tech unlocks. Astounding.
Right. The sources highlighted how quickly an avatar can now speak 80 languages. Reverend Robbins called it Pentecost for the seminary.
Pentecost for the seminary. I mean, that changes the entire landscape overnight, doesn't it?
Yep.
Suddenly reaching diverse populations, cooperating globally, it's exponentially easier. No massive translation overhead.
And some of those experimental uses were fascinating, too.
Yeah, they explored ideas like students counseling a bot and the bot marks them on their skills, or students having study discussions with, like, Martin Luther. Imagine studying church history by actually debating a digital Luther trained on all his writings.
The possibilities feel endless. But that kind of power, that scale, it absolutely demands governance, ethical foresight, which brings us back to that posture, humility and wisdom.
Indeed. Theological leaders, they have the academic credentials, the PhDs, but they need to guide this using wisdom, understanding the implications, not just knowledge, which is what the AI gives you in spades.
And that wisdom has to lead to some crucial ethical reflection. We can't just embrace AI because it's shiny and new. The deep dive have to ask, who gains from this and who pays?
That is the critical question. And when we talk about who pays, we have to include the cost to humanity, yes, but also the environment.
The environmental cost.
Absolutely. Running these massive AI models takes enormous amounts of power, literally requires rivers of water to cool giant server farms. Is the academic gain worth that environmental footprint? As friendly for institutions committed to stewardship, that reflection is essential. It can't be ignored.
And then governance becomes an immediate crisis point for boards, doesn't it? They have to scramble to create policies for things that just didn't exist a year or two ago.
Specifically around like asset ownership and liability. Who actually owns the AI avatar? If a professor uses one, does the college own it? Or does the professor keep the IP rights to their digital twin, even if they leave?
And what if the avatar messes up, gives bad advice?
Exactly. If an avatar gives incorrect or worse, legally actionable advice to a student who's legally responsible, the college, the AI provider, the professor whose likeness it used.
These are incredibly complex liability and IP concerns. Boards need to tackle them now before they get hit with a lawsuit.
Because the simple reality is there's no putting this back in the box.
Yeah.
The metaphor they used, spot on. The genie is out of the bottle and the toothpaste has been squeezed.
Yeah.
The challenge isn't stopping it, it's deciding what to do with it and trying to influence its path for good.
This has been a genuinely essential deep dive. The massive shift we've talked about seems so clear now. AI is forcing institutions out of that, profitable but maybe now obsolete knowledge industry and demanding they fully re-embrace their original mission, formation, relationality. The fact that AI could theoretically run a seminary just proves how vital the human element actually is, the irreplaceable part.
And one of the most interesting findings, I thought, from the ADC experiment was that faculty, they're already finding immense value in co-creating with AI, using it to draft policies, outlines, maybe integrate diverse themes into their work. AI is becoming the sophisticated, almost essential partner in professional output.
Right. And that co-creative relationship, that raises a really fascinating challenge for the future, doesn't it? If AI keeps becoming this necessary, almost foundational tool for professional work, academic writing, policy creation, whatever, how will future educational systems need to adjust their definitions of things like original work or intellectual property? How do you account for this co-creation process without sacrificing those vital relational, spiritual aspects of formation that we now know are just utterly irreplaceable?
And that is the essential challenge for you to perhaps mull over this myth. How do we redefine academic honesty and intellectual contribution in a world where collaborating with the non-human is rapidly becoming standard practice? Thank you for joining us for the deep dive.